For part two, please welcome President of Paraguay, Santiago Peña, in conversation with Daniel Yergin, Vice President, S&P Global.
Hello, everybody. We're very pleased. Is my mic on? Hello? Can you all hear? There it is. Very pleased here to be with President Santiago Peña of Paraguay for a very timely discussion. And we're going to talk about economy and energy, how they tie together, renewables and stability. But I wanted to actually begin by reading something. Our company, S&P Global, does ratings. And although I have to say that I've been told that I have to be very careful, I have nothing to do with the ratings.
I know.
Nothing to do with them. However, our headline from a little while ago is Paraguay Outlook Revised to Positive on Potential Improvement in Growth and Fiscal Trajectory. So congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dan. We are on good track. Last year, we were upgraded to investment grade by Moody's.
That's a competitor.
And I know that this is going to follow. The most important thing, the market has been rating Paraguay investment grade for a very long period of time. When you look at the spread, Paraguay is behaving at par with Uruguay, just very close to Chile, among the three top performers in Latin America.
So let me ask you, before you became president, you were finance minister, you're also an economist, you were at the IMF. Paraguay is different from your two big neighbors, Brazil and Argentina, who keep changing the name of their currency.
Yes.
You've had the same currency for 82 years. Wearing your hat as an economist as well as a leader of a country, what lessons have you taken from the volatility and populism and the impact it's had on Latin America as you think about your own policies? What did you learn?
There are no shortcuts for development. There are no shortcuts to progress and success. It requires consistency. It requires long-term commitment. And I have to acknowledge that being in a neighborhood where we have two large and very complicated countries, this by itself made us more resilient and to work harder. Because Paraguay suffered a lot in the past. There is a very long history of ups and downs, wars, friendship. But most importantly, around 25 years ago, the Paraguayan society decided that we don't want to be dancing samba or tango anymore. We want to dance our own music, and for that, we need to strengthen our economic institutions, and this is what we have been doing. Independent central bank, a very responsible fiscal policy, and this is emerging as a success story. For many, still a hidden gem in the heart of South America, but very nice coming after your previous panel, because Paraguay will be leading the energy transition, not only for the energy that we produce, but because we're going to be the connection between the large amount of gas that have been discovered in Argentina and Vaca Muerta, but the market is in Brazil. And the best way to take all that gas is through the middle of Paraguay. So we think that Paraguay will be the champion on energy.
Is there
transition.
already plans for pipelines?
We are talking. Brazil is very important because we need the off-taker. Argentina needs the off-taker. And for us, will be also a great opportunity because we know that there is gas in the Chaco of Paraguay. So the problem is we don't know how much. We have not done it all the exploration. But if we have the pipeline that is going to come from Argentina with all the gas from Vaca Muerta, it makes a lot of sense also to take out our own gas.
That is very interesting. Has there been any exploration?
Yes, there are many explorations. We know that there is gas. What we don't know is how much we have.
Right. So let's talk about fiscal, and then we'll come back to energy. What has been your strategy on fiscal policy?
Having fiscal rules and abiding to those fiscal rules. Paraguay was the last country in South America to issue bonds in the sovereign market. In 2013, I was a member of the board at that time, and it was very clear from asset managers, rating agencies. He said, look, you're coming to the market, you're coming to a party, it's very important that you behave in this marketplace. And all the things that you say that you're going to do it, you need to fulfill. You need to deliver those messages. So for the last 12 months, and we had 3 administrations taking over, Paraguay has maintained this fiscal responsibility. Of course, we have to use some exit clauses during the pandemic.
Right.
But since the pandemic, we have been lowering the deficit. Last year, the fiscal deficit was 2.6. Our commitment for this year is 1.9. And in the following year, we will converge to our fiscal responsibility law.
And politically, you're not feeling populist pressure?
No. Paraguay is a very nice example of how we have been able to be absent of these swings of populism, either to the right or the left. Paraguay has remained always in the center. So I think that as the war is in a turbulent time, I think it's a great opportunity to emerge as a shining star in South America.
Well, now, there is a little, as you may have noticed, some turmoil in the world economy in the last few months. You're an exporter of agricultural products. How's that affected your economy, and how have you adjusted things?
The reality is that Paraguayan economy is no longer an agricultural economy. The economy has been diversifying, and this is proof of how growth has been sustained. 23 growth was 5%, 24 was 4%, 25 we're projecting a 4% growth, and this is driven by a diversification of the economy. We have now more manufactured goods exported than agricultural goods exported. So agriculture, we cannot deny we have a comparative advantage. We produce food for 100 million people. Right. It's a very efficient agricultural sector, cattle raising sector. We export to the US many goods and products. But the economy is no longer only an agricultural
And what sort
economy.
of manufacturing sectors have...
What happened is that around 10 years ago, we approached Brazil. And we said, Brazil, you are importing, at that time it was around $60 billion from Asia. And 10% of those imports could be manufactured in Paraguay by Brazilian companies. So 10 years ago, we started talking about this idea of nearshoring. And it's very important to understand the largest market in Brazil is São Paulo. Asunción, which is our own capital, is 1,000, 2,000 kilometers out of São Paulo. Manaus, which is the largest industrial complex outside of São Paulo, is 5,000 kilometers away from São Paulo. And on the other side, you have in Paraguay low taxes, ease of doing business. So Brazil, which is our largest trading partner, has rediscovered a neighboring country with a lot of advantage. So Brazil now is our largest foreign direct investor, surpassing the US in recent years. So these manufacturers are auto parts, textile, food processing. So these are a wide range of products which are very similar to what Mexico does with the US in this maquila regime.
Right. So Mercosur is the trading relationship among the 3 countries.
Yes.
And obviously, there's the global market, there's the US, there's tariffs. What's it meant for the Mercosur within this turmoil? Does it tend to focus greater on trade among you?
I think this is a great news for Paraguay because as we are the most open economy with the less constraint to international trade and transactions, we have, of course, benefited of Mercosur, but even Mercosur has a lot to improve in terms of access to market. For us, having more access to the Brazilian market is a great opportunity. We're talking about the 8th largest economy in the world. And Brazil continues to be a very protective economy. So for us, Brazil trying to be more agile, more flexible, more open to the world economy in light of what is happening with this battle on tariff, this will be a great news for us. We are already enjoying this in the case of Argentina. President Milken came with a very aggressive change in public policy, opening the Argentinian market.
That's been good for you.
Amazing. I mean, we are exporting goods that we were not able to export for 40 years. So this is a great news for Paraguay. I think that we're going to benefit a lot. What we plan in the case of Paraguay is to create a level playing field, macro stability, political stability, ease of doing business, a pro-business environment. So this will be good for our trade within Mercosur. This will be good for our trade with the EU. We just signed last year a free trade agreement between Mercosur and the European Union. We are in the process of signing one with the Emirates. We signed one
free trade agreement.
Free trade agreement. So Mercosur is the international bloc that has been moving the most among all the countries, among all the blocs in the world. So we feel that this is a great moment for Paraguay. And we believe that despite all the growth that Paraguay has experienced, is nothing compared to what is still to come. We think that the potential for the country, a geography that is larger or almost the size of the state of California, 100% of arable land, water, I mean, we're sitting on top of one of the largest sweetwater aquifer in the world.
And your population is only like 15% of California.
Yes, we are only 6 million. So, and a mostly young population. The average age in Paraguay is 28 years old. So the demographic is very positive, and we are investing heavily because we think that this energy transition could make Paraguay a great ecosystem for technology companies. So we are investing a lot on education.
So let's turn to that. But before we do, just generally talk about the environment that you're trying to create for foreign investors and what that environment is like.
Well, first of all, low taxes. We did a tax reform 25 years ago. We lowered taxes from 30% to 10% and a very simple tax regime, 10% VAT, 10% corporate tax, and 10% personal income tax. I brought a lot of, I mean, I'm a long career civil servant, but I brought a lot of people from the private sector into the areas where regulations are made for the private sector. So a lot of business people that was complaining about red tape, so I said, come here, let's work. And we have accelerated the opening of companies, the closure of companies, in general, the relation between the government and provide, and I said that Paraguay is a great place to do and test new technologies. It's like a sandbox, a regulatory sandbox. I was member of the board of the central bank in 2012 when we allowed telcos to open accounts.
Right.
And it was quite controversial, and a lot of the banking industry were very, very concerned. And this proved to be a great opportunity. Mobile payments have flourished. Digital banking is really doing very, very well. Paraguay banking sector is among the most profitable in the world.
You know, you made a point and you went over it fast, but it's worth reflecting on for a moment in terms of policy and learning. I mean, many will say one of the biggest problems the EU has is the divorcement between the regulation and the market and industry and the economy. And the point you made is that to make the regulation connected to the economy.
Innovation goes much faster than regulation. So you need to have a regulation that will allow some level of innovation that will go ahead of the regulation. So this is something that we feel very proud and we are promoting. I was listening yesterday to Elon Musk, and he was saying that the deployment of automated cars, I mean self-driving cars, will depend on the regulation. And I was trying to raise my hand and said, look, come to Paraguay, bring your car to Paraguay. It's a great place for you to test them. And we have so much electricity, so it makes a lot of sense to have EV vehicles in the city.
I think at this point we have to stop and talk about electricity, because you have a very unique situation in terms of electricity that I don't think any other country in the world has.
No. Because of our geography and the rivers that surround Paraguay and are the limits with Argentina and Brazil, 50 years ago, we built these massive hydroelectric plants that if they were to be built now, it's going to be impossible because of all the impact on the natural resources. But it happened 50 years ago, and these are two massive hydroelectric plants. We move 100% of our economy on renewable, on hydro.
But
And we
not automobiles, just electricity is 100%.
Electricity
Yeah.
comes from hydro. And we export half of everything that we produce. But we are working to continue to expand. There are so many areas where we can do more hydro plants because of all the rivers that we have. And we're also planning to expand into solar because we think that the mix, for example, what happened in Brazil. Brazil's solar electricity, solar-generated electricity exploded in recent years, but it's non-reliable, right? You need to combine with a more reliable source, and the most reliable source of energy is hydro. Is the most contact, is the most stable. So we think that the possibility to expand the generation of electricity in Paraguay and combine the huge amount of hydro with solar would be very important.
If you're already 100% hydroelectricity, why would you need to build more dams?
Because we want to do more investment. We are expanding our use very rapidly. The 4% growth over the last 4 years also has been driven by an increase in consumption, particularly for the industrial sector. Last year, energy consumption went up by 20%. Oh. So I don't see any benefit in selling cheap electricity to a neighbor country. So we are trying to attract, I'm trying to attract hyperscaler. I'm holding the door for all the crypto miners who are coming, knocking on the door and trying to benefit of short-term contract. We are giving them, they are doing short-term contracts, but it's not the type of industry that we envision for the medium to long term. So we are advancing. I was in San Francisco last year meeting with all of the big tech companies, and for them it's a first time to listen this small Qatar of sustainability in the middle of South America, a country with so much electricity. So they are still trying to grip and to understand how stable and how reliable Paraguay is. We have an international treaty with the U.S. that protects U.S. investment in Paraguay. We are talking now with the administration to expand the coverage of that protection for investment. So we recognize and we acknowledge that Paraguay continues to be an unknown for many people. Right. But as we go further in improvement our macro stability, political stability, and this is recognized by rating agencies, this is recognized by other international institutions, this will give more assurance for foreign investors to come.
So without giving anything away, do you want to say where the discussions with the hyperscalers are?
Now the question comes, if I'm going to do a multi-billion investment, which I need to repay in 10, 15, 20 years, what are the assurances that the story of Paraguay is consistent in the long term? And they give the example, for example, on the Middle East, on Saudi, Emirates, Qatar. This system, political system, give us some assurance. We see the leadership, they have 30, 40 years still to go. But for countries in Latin America, democracy is very hard sometimes to manage. So we understand the concerns and we are giving all the assurance and we are more than willing to work to expand the level of trust that they need for this type of investment. For us, in the meantime, is continuing to delivering on all of our promises, on maintaining macro stability, on maintaining macro political stability. I won with a very large majority in Congress, and almost it's already 2 years that I have been elected. I still have the majority, and I have passed so many reforms that are important for the country.
So do you find that Paraguay's story is quite different from many of the other countries in terms of volatility? So is that a challenge for you to separate out Paraguay from perceptions of Latin American volatility and populism?
Not really, because we are awakening a giant. Paraguay was already a leading and a shining star in Latin America 160 years ago. It was the most developed nation. It was the first country to gain independence from Spain. We have eradicated analphabetism in 1850. We invested in people, and we had a lot of industries. But the destiny was very hard on Paraguay. In 1864, we had to enter into a war against Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. And it was a war of extermination. So we fought back for 6 years. At the end of the war, we lost 60% of the territory and 90% of the male population, 90. So it was a war of extermination. And these halted our development for almost a century. So we have been rebuilding, and over the last 36 years, we have accelerated the pace. And the result has been astonishing, but again, it's nothing compared to the potential that we have. So that's why we are accelerating our process of being a full member of the OECD. We have now a country program with the OECD. We think that this will be an additional seal of trust and confidence for investors to have that trust that the country is good for the long term.
Right, and your growth rate is pretty stable.
Very stable. The economy is diversifying. There are projects that are coming they're coming very, very soon. We are also, and this is taking the opportunity that the president of the IDB is here, we are leading on the green economy, and we are piloting with other countries on this new facility in investing in a green economy. So we are a green economy, but we want to continue to be in the future a green economy. So the type of investment are also a very smart investment to make it, the growth sustainable. And yes, as you mentioned, the growth has been sustaining, is diversifying. We are entering the forestry market, which will be also very important for Paraguay, and the green hydrogen. We are now with an investment, a very large investment from a British company on green fertilizer, green hydrogen. So we think that this is also going to be a frontier market for Paraguay.
So let's turn to foreign policy, relations and economic and political relations with the U.S., with China. You have diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Is that complicated?
Well, standing for the right causes is always complicated. But again, as I mentioned on development and growth, there are no shortcuts. The same happened for maintaining values and principles. It's not simple. There are no shortcuts. Most of them are very hard way. But only a country that have experienced so much hardship knows what other countries in that same situation feel. So Paraguay has been a very strong support for Israel. We reopened our embassy in Jerusalem in December of last year. We have designated Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Iranian Guard as terrorist organizations. We are staying next to Israel in this conflict. And the same we're doing with Taiwan. Taiwan has been a friend for 66 years. So we think that they also show us a great model of development, a small country next to a very large country.
Right.
But despite all the might of China, they continue to be a powerhouse in technology and semiconductors. So we think that this is a path that we would love to do. Of course, we don't think China is as aggressive, or Brazil is as aggressive as China. But you know, there's this sense in Paraguay that our neighbors have not behaved so well with us. But this is the neighborhood that we have. We cannot move from where we are. So we rather buckle up, shelf up, and work very hard to make ourselves stronger.
Right. The comparison to Taiwan, of course, education, technology, young people. What is your focus in terms of education, in terms of
10 years ago, when I was Minister of Finance, I asked the Taiwanese government to get me a meeting with the CEO of Foxconn. And he received me, very nice person, and I said, I want Foxconn to manufacture iPhones in Paraguay. And he asked me, how many engineers do you produce every year?
And the answer was?
And I said, look, can you hold that thought? I'm going to come back in a couple of years. So I went back to the government of Taiwan and I said, I want to make the MIT of Taiwan in Paraguay. I want to bring Taiwanese teachers to teach Paraguayans. So we built this university, the Paraguay-Taiwan Technological University. 10 years ago. So we have produced close to 1,000 engineers, technological engineers, 2 years working, studying in Paraguay, 2 years studying in Taiwan, and then staying in Taiwan for a couple of years working. So this is exactly the same thing what Taiwan did in the 60s and the 70s. Right. When they brought people that was working on Texas Instruments right. and other companies, exactly. and they created TSMC, the Taiwanese semiconductor company. So we are looking to make Paraguay a technological hub. The other thing that we are working...
Can I ask just where are you? So if you started 10 years ago, you have the first crop of graduates.
We have.
What are they up to?
Some of them are back in Paraguay, some others are still working in Taiwan. We are building now with Taiwan a digital district. So it's like a digital industrial park. So we're going to have companies from Taiwan coming and manufacturing some of the process in that park. So we are partnering with Taiwanese companies, which has been also a change for us because we have maintained great relations with the government, but the companies will not follow always the government. Yes. That's a plus. So what we have been doing is outreaching business companies and telling them, look, forget about recognizing Taiwan as a sovereign nation. That's okay, that's a plus. But that's not the advantage that Paraguay has. The advantage is location, stability, a young labor force that is eager to learn, and of course, clean renewable electricity, right. which is going to be fundamental in the coming years.
So that cadre of young engineers who are back in Paraguay, what are they starting companies? Are they going to work for companies?
They are, in a way, trying to transition because we don't have the companies yet. So right. many of them are coming to the companies. For example, many went to work on these auto parts manufacturing companies.
Oh, right.
So which are targeting the Brazilian market. This is a big business. It started 10 years ago, and we have now 5 out of the 6 largest wire harnesses companies in the world manufacturing goods in Paraguay right. for the Brazilian market. So we are in this transition period, and we are hoping that in the next couple of years we're going to be able to accelerate the process of technology right. companies. But I just wanted to mention the other program that you are working very hard, which is how to make Paraguay the hub for digital integration between the ELA link, which is the link that comes from Europe to Brazil, the submarine cable, and the Humboldt project, which is the one that is coming from Asia to Chile. Right. So we have signed an agreement with Chile to partner in this project, and we think that Paraguay will be the ideal place to connect both both submarine cable. So we think that this is going to be another advantage to make Paraguay a digital hub in the coming years.
Well, Mr. President, thank you very much for joining us and telling us a story that is not well known, but is becoming much better known. And your presence here and the elucidation of it is really very constructive. So indeed, on behalf of everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dan.